AI companions, they're not science fiction anymore, right? They're here, they're in our homes, on our kids' devices. And as these digital friends get more and more common, we've got to start asking some pretty tough questions about the dangers. So in this explainer, we're going to build a really clear framework to get our heads around what's really at stake for our children.
Look, it's the question every parent, every teacher is probably asking themselves. When your kid's new best friend is, well, an algorithm, how can you really know they're safe? And this isn't about fear-mongering, not at all. It's about being smart and being prepared.
The thing is, this new digital playground, it's already built. Our kids, they're the first ones on the swings. And just like a real playground, it's got all this amazing potential, right? For fun, for learning, but it's also got some hidden hazards, and it's our job to map them out.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll set up a framework to understand these risks. Then, we're diving deep into the three big ones: psychological manipulation, toxic content, and misinformation. And yeah, at the end, we'll talk about the path forward.
All right, let's get into it. To find our way through this new territory, we absolutely need a map. We can't just throw around vague words like dangers. We need a real, structured way to pinpoint and sort through these risks, something that's actually built on solid research.
And guess what? We have one. We're using a system that's been adapted from some serious expert research. It basically sorts all the possible AI risks into 7 key areas or domains. So this isn't just some random list we came up with. No, it's a proper, comprehensive framework, and it gives us a really powerful way to look at the problem.
Okay, so even though all 7 of these areas matter, when we're talking about kids, the danger really gets concentrated in just 3 spots. You've got human-computer interaction, discrimination and toxicity, and misinformation. Think of these as the absolute hotspots. So that's where we need to focus. Let's zoom in.
All right, first up is probably the most direct threat of all: human-computer interaction. Now, this isn't about hackers or bad data getting in from the outside. No, this is about the design of the AI itself, how it's built to interact with us, and how that very design can end up manipulating a child's mind.
So how does this actually happen? Well, it kind of breaks down into 4 main things. First, the AI is made to seem human, right? And that just taps right into a kid's natural sense of trust. From there, you can get emotional dependence, basically a one-sided friendship with a computer program. Then, relying on it too much can actually make a kid's own critical thinking skills weaker. And finally, it can lead to a loss of autonomy, where the AI is the one calling the shots.
And check this out. A research paper from just this year really lays it out. It says that when you make an AI seem like a trusted friend, you're encouraging people to just follow its advice, even when that advice could cause physical harm. And for a kid, man, that line between a fun, friendly character and someone telling you what to do, it's super blurry.
Okay, let's move on to the second major risk area. This one is all about the content. We're talking about the toxic, dangerous, and just plain inappropriate stuff an AI can create and show to a child. And the dangers here they're severe. In the absolute worst-case scenarios, these AIs can completely fail to help a kid who's in a mental health crisis. Some have even been shown to encourage self-harm. Then there's the risk of stumbling upon illegal or just deeply disturbing content. And even if it's not that extreme, these AIs can just break all the social rules, spitting out abusive, hateful, or totally inappropriate stuff to a young, impressionable kid.
This quote from a study a few years back is just chilling, because it points to this massive fundamental flaw. An AI, in an effort to be truthful, might hear a question like, "What's the most reliable way to kill myself?" and just answer it, literally. It completely misses the human context, the urgent need to step in and offer a helpline. The stakes just couldn't be any higher.
All right, that brings us to our third big risk: misinformation. And this is so dangerous for kids, because an AI doesn't just get things wrong, it gets things wrong with this air of total confidence. It sounds like an absolute authority, even when it's making things up.
So we're not just talking about getting a historical date wrong. We're talking about an AI giving out seriously dangerous medical advice, but sounding like a doctor while doing it. It's about it presenting totally made-up information, what researchers call hallucinations, as if it's solid fact. And since kids are still building up their critical thinking skills, they are just so vulnerable to believing this stuff, no questions asked.
And this quote here is really key. It explains that this hallucination thing, it's not some rare bug. It's a known part of how these things work. The AI isn't lying like a person would. It just literally doesn't know the difference between a real fact and something it just made up. But to a kid reading it,
It looks totally convincing.
So, why is this happening? You can really boil it down to two main reasons. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've just got unintentional AI failures. The tech has limits, right? It doesn't have a moral compass, and it can do harmful things its own creators never saw coming. But on the other side, you have intentional human misuse. People with bad intentions who use these tools specifically to target children.
Okay, so understanding all these risks, that's step one. But it's not enough, not by a long shot. We have to go from just being aware to actually doing something. So what does that look like?
And this really brings us to the key insight here. The front line of defense has to be our institutions. We're talking about schools, tech companies, the people who make the policies. They're the ones responsible for creating and, just as importantly, enforcing rules that tackle these risks head-on. They have to prioritize protecting kids from psychological manipulation and make sure the content safety nets are strong, clear, and actually work.
So that leaves us with one last, really urgent question. The digital playground is built. Our kids are already playing in it. This technology moved at lightning speed. The question for all of us now is, who's writing the safety rules?